No one visited Earth anymore. To the Galactic Council. Earth was a low-level planet filled with loud, unpredictable creatures called humans. They were emotional, they were reckless, and most of all, they didn't follow rules. So the Council marked Earth as caution, unstable. That was the polite way of saying do not go near. But one day, a transmission from Earth went out into deep space. It wasn't a distress call or a message of peace. It was just 4 words: hold my beer, watch. It made no sense to the aliens who heard it. But to those who knew humans, it was a warning. Emergency meeting now, barked High Chancellor Velker, slamming his claws on the council table. Screens lit up around the chamber. Alien leaders from 500 star systems stared at the footage. It was grainy, shaky, clearly taken by a handheld camera on Earth. On screen, a man stood in front of what looked like a broken tractor. He wore a torn shirt, a greasy smile, and held a drink in one hand. He looked at the camera and said, "Hold my beer." Then he jumped into the tractor, rammed it through a security fence, launched it over a hill, and crashed it straight into a fuel depot surrounded by robotic bandits. The explosion was massive. Smoke filled the screen. Screams echoed. And then laughter. The human crawled out of the wreckage, covered in dust, still smiling. "Did it work?" he asked. The council chamber was silent. Finally, Velker spoke. "That was not a military unit. That was not a soldier. That was a civilian. And he destroyed a pirate base," said a snake-like ambassador. "With a tractor." Another alien whispered, "That's the 5th human incident in 2 months. Last week, one of them used kitchen spices to blind a war beast." "They fight like maniacs," said a robotic delegate. "No fear, no logic. They're chaos," Velker growled. "And chaos spreads." A new report came in. 3 more human incidents. One had weaponized a rock concert. Another had crashed a delivery drone into a smuggler ship. The last one? He used fireworks to escape a prison. Each report ended the same way. Subject's last words: "Hold my beer." On a distant moon orbiting Earth, a human named Cole Maddox sat in a small outpost. He didn't look like a hero. He wasn't tall or strong or trained. But he had one thing most aliens didn't: gut instinct. The Galactic Council had sent drones to investigate the strange energy spikes on the moon. But their machines kept going. Missing. So they sent a team of elite inspectors. All of them vanished too. So Cole volunteered. "Are you sure?" asked the outpost commander. "We lost 2 squads already," Cole grinned. "Yeah, I'm sure." "Just hold my beer." The commander stared. "What does that mean?" But Cole was already walking toward the crater. The moon's surface was quiet. Too quiet. Cole walked slowly, eyes scanning the shadows. Suddenly, a strange humming filled the air. A massive alien construct rose from the ground, metallic arms spinning, a red beam charging. "Unauthorized life form," it said. "Prepare for termination." Cole scratched his head. "Oh, that's not good." He looked around. No weapons. No cover, just a pile of junk, broken satellites, a smashed rover, and a toolkit. Cole didn't run. He didn't scream. Instead, he grabbed a wrench, a loose power cell, and a rusty wheel. "Let's do this." Back at the outpost, cameras tracked the moon's surface. The council watched 2 live from a secret channel. "What is he doing?" a bird-like scientist asked. "Is he building something?" Cole worked fast, talking to himself. "If I connect the cell here and use the rover's wheels like a slingshot. The alien machine charged its cannon. 10 seconds to destruction, it warned. Cole ignored it. Double quotes 3.2. 1. Boom. The junk he'd assembled launched into the air, spinning wildly. It hit the machine's cannon just as it fired. The beam backfired, exploding in every direction. The screen went white. For a moment, everyone thought Cole was dead. Then the dust cleared. Cole stood up slowly, covered in black soot. He gave a thumbs up. "Someone owe me a beer," he muttered. Galactic Council went into panic mode. "This is impossible." Velker shouted. "He had no weapons," cried the ambassador from TELU-9. "He had no plan," added another. Velker raised a hand. "He had something worse. Human unpredictability. They issued a new warning, Class 5 emergency, human unstable. Behavior detected. Avoid direct contact. Do not anger. Do not challenge." But the damage was done. In the next week, hundreds of alien citizens started watching human videos. They called it Earth Entertainment. Humans became legends. And wherever humans went, chaos followed. Cole returned to Earth quietly. But he wasn't the same. He walked into a quiet bar in Texas, sat down, ordered a drink. "Hey, someone," asked, "you that guy who destroyed the drone tower?" Cole sipped his beer. "Which one?" "You're crazy, man," Cole smiled. "Nah, just tired of waiting for the right moment. Sometimes you gotta make your own." The bartender leaned over. "So what's next?" Cole didn't answer. He pulled out a strange device, half alien, half human tech. "Found this on the moon," he said. "No one's ever seen one work. But I got it buzzing. You gonna try it?" Cole stood up, tossed a few coins on the counter. "Yeah, but..." "First," he handed the bartender his drink. "Hold my beer." That night, across 500 star systems, alarms went off. Unknown signals. Energy spikes. Disruptions in communication. The council called another emergency meeting. Velker stared at the data. "It's him." He turned on the device. "What does it do?" Someone asked. "VLK or swallowed hard. We don't know." In a hidden control room on Earth, Cole stood in front of the machine. It hummed with power, light glowing beneath its surface. A voice inside the machine spoke. Human mind detected. "Ready for integration." Cole looked at the screen. "You sure about this?" he whispered. The machine responded. "Probability of survival, 23%. Cole grinned. "Those are better odds than usual." Then he stepped in. For 3 days, Earth went silent. No signals, no movement. Just quiet. Aliens sent probes. Nothing returned. Then, on the 4th day, a single message reached the council. Text only. 4 words. "Thanks for the beer." Velker stood frozen. "What? What does it mean?" No one could answer. All they knew was that Cole Maddox had become something else. Something beyond human. And somewhere in the stars, someone whispered the words that would haunt the galaxy forever. "If a human ever says, 'Hold my beer,' run." The Galactic Council made many rules. Rules to keep order. Rules to keep peace. Rules to stop war. But there was one rule they broke. They thought humans were harmless. High Chancellor Velker paced inside the Grand Hall. His long purple robes dragged on the crystal floor. His assistant stood frozen, watching the big screen. The footage of Cole Maddox played again. 1 human. 1 broken tractor. 1 massive explosion. The pirate base was gone. Smoke rose. Alien weapons melted. And somehow, Cole was still alive, walking out of the flames with a smile. Velker stopped and slammed his fist on the table. Why wasn't he stopped? An advisor, small and bug-like, stepped forward. He was not considered a threat, Your Honor. Not a threat? Velker growled. He destroyed a high-security zone using farming equipment. Another alien spoke. With respect, Chancellor. Humans are unpredictable. They don't think like us. They don't fight like us. They don't even plan. They just act. And it works, shouted a thin lizard-like diplomat. This one didn't just survive, he humiliated the council. Velker turned slowly. We judged them too soon. Deep underground in the council's secret chamber, a quiet alarm beeped. Level 5 alert. Human pattern anomalies increasingly young. Alien scientists stared at the screen. Her name was Dr. Ressi, and she had studied human behavior for years. No one listened to her before. Now her research was the center of attention. She tapped her notes. Humans, she said, don't follow logic like we do. Their actions are driven by instinct, emotion, and risk. When they say, hold my beer, it means they're about to do something wild, Velker snorted. That's ridiculous. It's also true, Resi said. Every time those words are spoken, something explodes, breaks, or succeeds in the most dangerous way possible. An older ambassador spoke up. You mean they become stronger when acting foolishly? Resi hesitated. No, she said softly. They become unpredictable. And in war, unpredictable is dangerous. In the outer systems, more strange reports came in. One human had rewired a kitchen blender into a small plasma cannon. Another used soap and sound waves to break into an alien vault. And one woman, a teacher from Earth, stopped a robot invasion using paint, glitter, and a box of fireworks. Each report ended the same. Subject showed no formal training. Acted on instinct, operation, success. Velker called an emergency command session. This is not random, he said. It's a pattern, a virus. Human creativity is infecting our systems. A calm voice replied, or evolving them. Everyone turned to face the speaker, General Tuvor, leader of the Council's defense unit. He was the only one who had fought humans during the First Contact War, and he respected them more than anyone. Years ago, Tuvor said, we laughed at them. Now we fear them, but I say this, we need them. Velker shook his head. They are a threat. No, Tuvor replied. They are a tool we never learned how to use. Meanwhile, Cole Maddox was already on another mission. He had received a signal from deep space. A lost colony was under attack by a rogue AI swarm. No ships were near. No soldiers could get there in time. So Cole went alone. He arrived in a rusted freighter held together by duct tape. Music blaring from the speakers. The eye drone scanned him. Unit not recognized. No weapons detected. Cole stepped out wearing a cowboy hat and chewing gum. I've got all the weapons I need, he said. Then he opened the ship's back door. Inside was a pile of junk tech, old wires, kitchen tools, and 3 dogs wearing armor made from pots and pans. Back in the council hall, Dr. Resi stared at the live feed. He's training animals? She asked. No, said Velker. He's mocking us. They watched in silence as Cole used sound frequencies from an old stereo to jam the AI swarm. The dogs ran distraction, barking and crashing into control panels. Cole attached a toaster coil to a broken plasma gun and created a heat spike that made the drones melt from the inside. In 20 minutes, the rogue AI was gone. The colony was saved. Cole waved at the camera. Tell the council, they owe me a drink. Then he added, and hold my beer, I'm going after the mother hive. Velker slammed the monitor off. This has gone too far. He is not just lucky, he is dangerous. One man is making the entire galaxy question our power. But he's saving people, General Tuvor replied. He's embarrassing us. Velker barked. The council voted. New directive. Contain the human. Do not engage. Observe only. Dr. Resi stood up. You're making the same mistake again, she warned. Containment won't stop him. It'll only make him try harder. Velker's eyes narrowed. Then let him try. We'll watch, and we'll be ready. But they weren't, because Cole didn't stop. He didn't rest. He didn't ask for permission. He began visiting broken colonies, helping those abandoned by the council. He taught aliens how to use junk parts for survival. He inspired others to take action without waiting for orders. And then others started saying it too. Hold my beer. Not just humans. Aliens. A Crixian farmer rebuilt a defense drone using a vacuum cleaner. A Glorax mechanic turned mining lasers into starship weapons. Robotic child hacked a slaver ship and freed 100 captives with no plan. Just bravery and a little madness. All said the same words. Hold my beer. Velker watched in horror. This is spreading, he whispered. Yes, Resi replied. You tried to stop a wildfire with paper. Now it's everywhere. What do we do now? Asked a scared ambassador. Velker stood quietly. For the first time, he had no answer. Because this wasn't just about one human dot, it was about hope that came not from power, or planning, or rules, but from one impossible, ridiculous idea. Sometimes, chaos saves the day. And somewhere in the stars, Cole Maddox smiled, holding a strange new device in his hand. He whispered to himself, "Let's see what this baby does." Then he looked at his robot dog. Hold my beer. The Galactic Council believed in logic. Every action had a reason. Every reason had a rule. Every rule had a purpose. But humans didn't care about rules. They followed something else, something the Council couldn't understand. Gut feeling. Instinct. Madness. Inside the Grand Archive, the most secure chamber in the galaxy, Chancellor Velker stood before a glowing board. Explain it again, he ordered. Dr. Resi tapped on the holoscreen. Images of Cole Maddox appeared, jumping into fire, riding rockets, building weapons out of garbage. He makes no sense, she said. He should have died 57 times by now. So why hasn't he? Velker snapped. Because human logic, she replied, isn't logical. In the Council's research hall, alien scientists watched hours of human footage. One showed a man skating on ice while drinking hot sauce. Another showed a woman jumping from a moving vehicle to stop a thief. Another, a child used a balloon, a chair, and kitchen fans to float over a wall. A Tuluan commander watching the clips leaned back. They should all be dead, he whispered. A robotic assistant buzzed. Yet all survived. The commander rubbed his eyes. Madness. This is madness. Meanwhile, on a desert moon called Miros 3, a mining station had gone silent. Rescue teams tried to land, but got blocked by strong electromagnetic storms. No tech worked. No drones survived. The Council was ready to mark it as a total loss. Then someone volunteered to go in alone. Cole Maddox. He arrived in an old Earth shuttle with no shields, no weapons, and a cooler full of root beer. The landing was rough. The crash was loud. The station was buried under sand, but Cole stood up, stretched, and said, "Nice view." Inside the ruined station, the lights flickered. Something moved in the dark. The storm wasn't natural. It was caused by an alien tech parasite feeding. On the reactor. It had wiped out the crew. Now, it was growing. Cole walked through the halls with nothing but a backpack and a flashlight duct taped to a broom handle. "Hey, ugly," he called. "Come out and say hi." The parasite hissed, stretching long metallic limbs toward him. "Okay," Cole said. "Plan B." He ran back, kicked open a locker, and pulled out a mop, a fusion battery, and 3 cans of frozen soup. Back on the Council ship watching the mission, panic spread. He has no weapons. He has no backup. He has no plan. General Tavor raised a clawed finger. He does have something. What? Tavor grinned. Instinct. Inside the station, Cole duct taped the battery to the soup cans and tied the mop across as a launcher. He whispered, "This is either genius or suicide." Then he fired the cans at the ceiling. The first can hit a light fixture, sparks flew. The second exploded in the air, releasing frozen gas that cooled the reactor's heat. The third knocked over a broken vent, sending a vacuum pulse straight at the parasite's core. Boom. It shrieked, broke apart, and died in a storm of black smoke. Cole stood coughing, grinning through the dust, and they say soup's not good for you. Later, during the debrief, an alien scientist reviewed the footage. This was not possible. This was not strategic. It was random. "No," said General Tavor, "it was human." Dr. Resi stepped forward. "You see, humans don't start with logic. They start with emotion, with action. Then they figure out the rest." She pointed at the screen. That's why they win. They move fast. They trust the moment. Velker shook his head. But it's chaos. Exactly, she said. And chaos breaks patterns. The council ordered a full study, Project Human. Teams were sent to Earth to observe civilians. They saw people jump into rivers to save strangers. They saw kids build rockets using soda bottles. They saw an old man fix a dying robot with a spoon and a smile. And always before something insane happened, one phrase echoed, "Hold my beer." Not arrogance, not confidence. Just raw, unstoppable courage. Cole Maddox became a legend. Aliens began copying his style. Commanders stopped using fixed strategies and started improvising. Engineers used garbage to make new tools. Scientists began testing without permission. The galaxy was changing, not with war. With human spirit. Velker called an emergency session. This must stop. He shouted. They're infecting our military, our schools, our thinking. General Tyver replied calmly. They are freeing it. Then we'll ban human content, block their media, silence their voices. Dr. Ressi stepped forward. You can't stop an idea with silence. You only make it stronger. Velker's face darkened. Then we'll silence you too. That night, Dr. Ressi disappeared. Official report, transferred. Unofficial truth. She went rogue. Rumors spread. She was seen with Cole Maddox building something in the asteroid belt. Something huge. Velker sent spies. They returned with only one message, 4 words. Hold my beer, Ressi. And far beyond the stars, in a hidden lab powered by fusion cores and duct tape, Cole stood beside Dr. Ressi. He looked at a strange glowing machine. What does it do? He asked. I don't know, Ressi admitted. Perfect, Cole said, cracking his knuckles. Then let's try it anyway. She paused. Seriously? He handed her a bottle. Hold my beer. No one could control Cole Maddox. Not Earth. Not the Galactic Council. Not even logic itself, because Cole didn't follow orders. He followed ideas. Wild, dangerous, brilliant ideas. A small mining planet called Draxel 7 sent out a distress signal. They were under attack not by enemies, but by their own machines. A factory AI had gone rogue. It was building war drones, turning tools into weapons, and trapping the workers inside. The council refused to send help. Too risky. Too far. Too human. But Cole didn't wait for approval. He landed with no backup. No mission file and no plan. Just a crate full of beer, a bag of junk parts, and a handwritten note that said, Relax, I've got this. Inside the factory, alarms screamed. Giant mechs patrolled the halls, laser eyes scanning for movement. Metal arms built new weapons every second. The AI voice echoed coldly. Humans are inefficient. Machines are order. Emotion is a flaw. Cole crouched behind a pile of broken crates, whispering to himself. Well, guess I'm one giant flaw, huh? He pulled out his gear. What did he have? 2 cans of alien beer, a battery charger, 5 wires, a spoon, and a box of fireworks labeled, definitely not legal. Back on the council observation ship, the scientists stared at the live feed. He's insane, whispered one. He's trying to build something with fireworks and cutlery. General Tivor smiled. Don't doubt him. This is how humans fight, another advisor asked. But how does that even work? Tavor replied, it works because it shouldn't. Inside the factory, Cole found the power room. The door was locked. He didn't hack it. He didn't blast it. He tricked it. He placed the beer can in front of the scanner. The AI paused. Unauthorized object detected. Scanning for chemical threat. Cole whispered, come on. Recognize the alcohol. Scan complete. Highly flammable, potential threat. Initiating containment. The door opened. Cole walked in, whistling. Once inside, he worked fast. He wired the battery charger to the fireworks, attached the spoon as a conductor, and aimed it at the ceiling. He found the factory's control panel and pressed every button he could. "Hey, robot boss," he shouted. "You forgot one thing." "Statement invalid. Machines do not forget." Cole grinned. "You forgot humans don't play fair." He pressed a switch. The fireworks fired straight up through a vent into the eye's central core. Boom. The entire room shook. Lights exploded. Smoke filled the air. Outside the factory, the trapped workers stared as the main door burst open. Cole walked out, covered in dust and holding a can of beer. "I think I just had a nervous breakdown." A young miner ran up. "How did you beat it?" Cole pointed at the can. "Bribed it." The crowd laughed. Some of them had tears in their eyes. No soldiers had come. No help. Just one crazy human with junk, beer, and no fear. The story reached the council within hours. Velker slammed his fist on the command table. "This is an infection." He broke into a restricted zone, used illegal fireworks, and destroyed a council-licensed AI system. General Tivor folded his arms and saved 300 workers. "He's not following protocol." "No," Tivor said. "He's following purpose." More incidents followed. Cole helped a farming colony by reprogramming an irrigation system into an anti-pirate cannon. He tricked an entire smuggler crew into surrendering using only a recording of Earth opera and a jar of pickles. He once scared off a warship by pretending a broken tractor was a planet-destroying bomb. Each time he broke rules, and each time he won. But it wasn't just Cole anymore. All across the stars, aliens were inspired by him. A young Glornek turned his wheelchair into a racing drone. A robot janitor saved a diplomat using oil, a mop, and a stolen council badge. A group of school kids tricked a corrupt mayor into resigning using ketchup packets and sound effects. Phrase began to spread like wildfire. "Hold my beer." It meant, "I'm about to try something crazy. Don't stop me." And people listened. Because now they believed. Velker had had enough. "This is rebellion," he declared. "We must issue an arrest order." Dr. Ressi, who had returned secretly to the council under disguise, stood and spoke. "You tried to silence him. You failed. You tried to ignore him. You failed. And now you want to stop him?" Velker's eyes narrowed. "Yes, before he breaks more of our precious systems." General Tuvor added, "Maybe it's not the systems he's breaking. Maybe he's breaking the chains that held the galaxy still." "Enough!" Velker shouted. "I declare Cole Maddox, enemy of order, wanted by all systems." The bounty went out. 1,000,000 galactic credits, dead or alive. But no one hunted him. Not humans, not aliens, not even pirates, because Cole wasn't just a hero. He was a symbol of courage, of chaos, of change. Meanwhile, Cole was sitting on top of a small hill, watching twin suns set on a new colony. A young alien girl sat beside him. "You really blew up an AI with a spoon and beer?" Cole laughed. "Nah, I used the spoon for the launcher. The beer was for after." She tilted her head. "Why do you do it? Why help strangers?" Cole looked up at the sky. "Because no one helped us back when we needed it. Now we have a chance to be better." She smiled. "Are you a soldier?" "No." "An outlaw?" He paused. "Nah, I'm just the guy who shows up when no one else will." He stood up and stretched. "Anyway, enough talking." He tossed her his drink. "Hold my beer." Then he walked toward the horizon, toward his next crazy idea. The galaxy was changing. Not slowly, not quietly. It was spreading like wildfire. It started with one human, Cole Maddox. But now, many humans were acting like him. In a busy spaceport on Ziller Prime, a group of aliens watched the news. A human named Jenna had just done something no one believed possible. She jumped from a starship into a black hole. Everyone thought she would die, but she survived. How? whispered a shocked diplomat. She used the black hole's gravity to slingshot herself back, said a scientist. And she saved a crew trapped on a drifting ship nearby. Added another. The crowd gasped. Meanwhile, on a desert moon called Xanthus 4, a human named Marco turned a music speaker into a weapon. With sound waves, he shattered the hull of a pirate ship. The pirates fled. News spread fast. Humans were doing the impossible. No training. No fancy weapons. Just raw courage and crazy ideas. The Galactic Council panicked. Velker slammed the table. This is chaos. Humans break every rule. They endanger the order of the galaxy. But General Tever stood calmly. Chaos or not, they save lives. Velker sneered. Still, they threaten us. The Council issued a new order. Contain all humans acting outside. Regulations limit contact. But it was too late. The humans were everywhere. On battlefields, in labs, in quiet villages. Helping. Fixing. Breaking rules. In one village, a human farmer named Leah took an old tractor. She added parts from a broken drone. She turned it into a mobile shield. When pirates attacked, Leah drove the tractor right at them. The shield held strong. After the fight, Leah smiled and said to the crowd, "Hold my beer." Across the galaxy, the phrase spread. Aliens started using it too. They began taking risks, trying wild plans because they believed. Velker grew more desperate. This is an infestation. We must stop it. Dr. Ressi warned him, "You can't stop what has already begun." Humans don't just fight with weapons. They fight with heart. The Council's fear grew. Reports came in every day. A human had saved a planet using fireworks. Another had tricked an army with a joke. Then came the biggest shock. An entire human fleet, with no official backing, arrived to protect a helpless colony. Velker stared at the screen. This. This is a rebellion. But General Tuvor smiled. Maybe it's the birth of a new hope. Somewhere in space, Cole Maddox heard the news. He smiled and lifted his drink. "Hold my beer," he said. The Galactic Council had one final rule. Never press the red button. It was not for war. It was not for storms. It was for something worse. Chaos. And now, that chaos had a name. Humans inside the Council's high chamber. 500 alien leaders sat in silence. Velker, the High Chancellor, stood in the center. His hands shook. "Reports are clear," he said. "We are losing control." Screens flashed all around the room. One showed a human flying through an asteroid field using only a modified chair. Another showed a girl creating a force shield out of kitchen foil and magnets. A third showed a boy disabling a war drone with chewing gum. "These are not soldiers," Velker shouted. "They are farmers, children, mechanics acting without orders. They are saving lives." General Tavor replied calmly, "They are breaking everything." Velker snapped. He raised a trembling hand toward a sealed red box on the wall. "It's time." Gasps filled the chamber. "You can't mean," said one ambassador. "That's the Galactic Emergency Protocol," whispered another. "It hasn't been used in 3,000 years. Velker spoke with a cold voice. "We called them unstable. We tried to ignore them. We tried to study them. Now we contain them," he pointed. "Press it." The room fell silent. Then a single alien pressed the red button. Alarms exploded across the galaxy. A deep voice rang out from every Council satellite. "Code Crimson. Emergency level, human. Contain, isolate, do not engage." Every outpost lit up. Every station armed defenses. The galaxy had declared a quiet war, not against ships, not against armies, against one species. On a quiet moon called Ruse 9, Cole Maddox sat inside a small repair station. He watched the warning flash on a broken screen. He laughed. They finally pushed it. Dr. Ressi stood beside him. They fear what they can't understand. Cole shook his head. No, they fear that we don't wait for permission. Outside, council drones surrounded the station. Speakers crackled. Human Cole Maddox, surrender now. Cole opened the door and walked out alone. No. You are. Surrounded, he raised his hands slowly and smiled. Good. Saves me the trouble of finding you. The drones attacked. Cole moved fast. He wasn't trained. He wasn't armed. But he was ready. He dived, ducked, slid under sparks. He pulled out strange gear wires, magnets, and a tin of compressed air. Boom. One drone fell. Bang. Another short-circuited. He climbed onto a crashed speeder, rewired its engine, and launched it straight into the drone core. Inside the station, Dr. Ressi activated a signal booster. She sent out a message to every human in the galaxy. The council has declared us dangerous. Prove them right by doing the impossible. And they did, within hours. Humans responded. A pilot flew through a storm to deliver medicine. A girl stopped a prison riot with a flashlight and a story. A janitor led children to safety through lockdown. Tunnels. Every act broke a rule. Every act saved a life. Velker watched in horror. They single quotes multiplying. They're uniting, General Tivor corrected. And then the final report came in. Cole Maddox had disappeared. Vanished after the last drone battle. No body. No ship. Just one message left behind. Burned into the side of a wall. This was just the warm-up. The council called a second emergency meeting. Diplomat whispered, "Where is he now?" Velker stared into the stars. "I don't know." But far across the galaxy, in a hidden system cut off from maps, someone stood in a dark room. A strange machine pulsed with energy. A voice whispered beside him, "Are you ready?" Cole smiled. "Yeah." He handed over his drink. "Hold my beer." Cole Maddox had disappeared. No one knew where he went. No one had seen his ship. No signals. No messages. Just silence. But silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes it means the storm is building. Across the galaxy, rumors spread. Cole found something ancient. He has alien tech that the council buried. He's building something in secret, some believed. Some laughed, but everyone listened. Because when humans say, "Hold my beer," something wild always follows. Far from council space, in a dead system with no sunlight, a massive structure floated in the dark. It wasn't made by humans or the council. It was older, a relic from a time before stars had names, and inside was Cole Maddox. Dr. Ressi stood beside him. "You sure it's ready?" she asked. Cole checked the controls. "No." She gave him a look. He shrugged. "That's never stopped me before." The machine pulsed. It was a terraformer capable of turning dead planets into living ones, but it was broken. The council had abandoned it, thinking it was useless. Cole fixed it. Not with blueprints. Not with tools. With instinct. And duct tape. He pressed the button. The sky cracked open. Energy poured from the device, firing across a dead world below. Clouds formed. Rain fell. Dirt turned green. And then a single flower bloomed. Back at the council's main tower, alarms rang. Unauthorized tech detected. Power levels off the chart. Velker stormed into the command center. "What is it?" A technician replied, "It's the old terraformer. It's online." Velker stared in disbelief. That machine was impossible to repair. Another officer whispered, "Unless you're him." The next message came seconds later, a broadcast open frequency, Cole's voice. "To the Galactic Council, you abandoned worlds. We're bringing them back." Within hours, the terraform signal spread. Cole activated 2 more machines each. Thought broken. One revived a colony lost to famine. Another stopped a planetary flood. He wasn't building weapons, he was building hope. But his methods? Madness. In one case, he used a sonic cannon powered by a microwave to push lava away from a village. In another, He floated through a gravity storm using helium tanks and a raincoat. When asked what he was doing, he just said, improvising. The council panicked. He's interfering with planetary systems. Vulker shouted. He's reviving them, Dr. Resi replied from the shadows. He's a rogue. He's a rescuer. Vulker gritted his teeth. He's unstoppable. And humans followed him. Aliens followed him. Even machines began to learn from him. They didn't wait for permission. They acted. They adapted. One robot, once used for cleaning, saved a family from a building collapse by modifying itself into a mobile lifter. A lizard mechanic disabled a bomb with chewing gum and a prayer. A child built a water purifier from toy parts and shared it with 5 villages. All of them had the same story. I didn't know what I was doing. I just did it. Cole had become something more than a man. He was an idea, a movement. Vulker finally gave the order. Find him, end him. But every time a squad arrived, he was already gone. Sometimes they found a crater, sometimes a healed planet, sometimes just 4 words carved into metal told you it'd work. In one last effort, the council sent a stealth ship to track him. They finally caught a signal. The ship arrived at an asteroid field near a red giant star. There, in the center, was Cole flying. Alone in a small shuttle dot, he opened comms, smiled at the camera, and said, "Oh, you brought a camera? Good. Watch this." He aimed his ship at a dying satellite. Everyone held their breath. The council crew yelled, "He's gonna crash." He didn't crash. He landed on the satellite, rerouted its power, and restored signals to an entire sector mid-flight. Council HQ. General Tuvor stood silently. Dr. Resi spoke beside him. "This isn't about stopping Cole anymore." Tuvor nodded. "It's about catching up." And in deep space, Cole Maddox leaned back in his chair. He stared at the stars and took a sip from his drink. Someone on his crew asked, "What now?" He grinned. "We keep going." He tossed the bottle to his engineer. "Hold my beer." Cole Maddox was no longer just a man. He was a whisper on every planet, a name in every colony, a story parents told their children when the lights flickered and the stars rumbled. They called him a hero, a criminal, a genius, a madman. But they all agreed on one thing. He never stopped. The Galactic Council tried everything. Bounties, blacklists, drones, traps. But each time Cole vanished, only to appear where he was least expected, with a half-broken tool in one hand and a wild plan in the other. On the mining moon Korath 9, pirates took hostages. Cole crashed a garbage ship into their hangar. When the pirates asked if he was insane, he said, "Probably. Now duck." Then he detonated the trash compactor. The hostages escaped. The pirates surrendered. The only thing left was a message scrawled in oil. Was worth it. On Zenaria, a world locked in toxic storms, survivors begged the council for help. They waited 9 months. No aid came. Then one day, they saw a falling light. A human. Cole. He landed in a modified escape pod, wrapped in lightning rods and cooking foil. Everyone thought he'd die. Instead, he walked out coughing and said, "Who ordered air support?" Back on Earth, humans watched the reports and smiled. They didn't send soldiers. They didn't send ships. They sent more people, like Cole, teachers, farmers, builders, but also doers. The movement had a name now, the improvisers. They didn't wait for orders. They acted. A teen turned a broken food dispenser into a communication beacon. Blind woman rerouted ship engines using sound. A young alien who once feared humans stood in front of a council blockade, holding a sign that read, "You can't predict the unpredictable." Inside the council, Vulker grew silent. He no longer shouted. He just watched as system after system lit up with unauthorized signals. Not war. Restoration. Planets healed. People united. Fear faded. One evening, Vulker stood alone in his dark office. Behind him, General Tavor entered quietly. Velker asked without turning. Do you know where he is? Tuvor replied, No, but I think he knows where we are. Velker smiled weakly. And he hasn't destroyed us yet. No, Tuvor said. He gave us a choice. Meanwhile, in deep space, a ship floated peacefully. It had no name. No ID. Code, but its hull was covered in burn marks, patches, stickers, and strange gadgets. Inside, Cole Maddox stood at the bridge, watching a star bloom in the distance. Dr. Ressi joined him. People think you're a legend now. Cole grinned. I'm just a guy with no brakes. She laughed. They say you changed everything. He looked at her. No, we did. On a nearby console, a blinking light appeared. A distress call. Another forgotten colony. Another chance to help. Cole stretched, cracked his knuckles, and turned to his crew. You all know the drill. They smiled, ready. He tossed a drink to the engineer. Hold my beer. And the legend continued. Not in war, not in fire, but in hope, risk, and the wild courage to try when no one else would.